Welcome to News and Brews, with information on surgical robotics, insights on medical devices and digital health. We turn to our MD&M West correspondent, Ann Wyatt.
Coming to you live from the MD&M4 show, we have Marnie Smith with us today. This is breaking news, you all. We have our final interview at the top of the hour today. Marnie Smith with Network Partners is here with us, and she's going to share with us some more groundbreaking information and innovative solutions coming out of med device industry. Marnie, how are you?
I'm great. Am I on? I'm great. Not able to use a microphone, but I'm great. It's been a really good day so far today. I had a speaking engagement. It was fantastic. Really excited to be here and doing this event for the first time.
That's fantastic. Yeah, thanks for coming on our little show here. We really appreciate it, and I'm excited to learn a little bit more about your passion and what's driving you in this industry, and learning more about Network Partners. And speaking of which, kind of give us the rundown and the scoop, if you will, on what Network Partners does exactly, sure, and more about how you contribute to the larger ecosystem of medical device.
I'm happy to answer this. So Network Partners, we are a professional services company, and we cover support within the medical device and pharmaceutical spaces for quality, regulatory, labeling, project management, and package engineering. I'm pretty new to consulting. It's only been 2 years. It feels like it's a little bit longer in a good way, but it's been 2 years. Prior to joining Network Partners, I've spent a lot of time in a variety of roles at various medical device manufacturers. So I was in engineering, I've been in quality roles, I've been in director roles, doing medical devices and feeling like I was really closely connected with the patients. So the thing I really like about Network Partners in this space is that I am able to do my bit and my part in really improving patient outcomes.
I love that, yeah. So in other manufacturing niches, we're always talking about the end user, the end customer, right? Especially if you have like a software product or even a machinery product, right? Robot arm, how it affects the end customer and the end user. And in this case, really the end customer and the end user are the patients. It's us.
Right, absolutely.
At some point in time.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I would even comment that when I was younger that I always wanted to be in medicine because I wanted to help someone's life and I wanted to make someone feel better. And then I realized I didn't like blood. I didn't like when people died, right? So those things were going to be a little bit more challenging to face, but I still have the ability to help people and help patients in this capacity of the role that I'm in now.
I love that. And we had such a great conversation leading up to today's interview.
Yeah.
Right, on the phone a couple of weeks ago, and just kind of getting to know each other in a really quick call. But I think the role that you're in is so interesting because, if from what you were describing to me, you were not only working in new product development, but you're also working on the quality side of it. And I think that's interesting because usually when you're developing a product, you start with the R&D and you start with the development of the product, and then it kind of goes over to the quality side, and those aren't two boxes that normally intersect. And you kind of merge those with what you're doing in Network Partners.
Yes, I have a fundamental belief of cross-functional improvement and cross-functional engagement. The root of quality is continuous improvement, and I think that is accountable in the product development space as well. And I think the only way we can effectively design products is if you have multiple functions as part of that conversation. You get perspectives through different lenses, and which ultimately, with output of a great product that's going to deliver to what the patient needs.
That's fantastic, yeah. So with that unique perspective, from your point of view, what are some of the core trademarks of a good product from a quality perspective?
That's a good question. So as I think about the different trademarks of a good product, certainly the quality in general aspect is important. A product that doesn't get a lot of news around failure, you're not wanting to return it. You're not going to be complaining to the original company about it not performing the way you want it. So there's obviously the commercial aspect of a product quality perception, but really internally is where a lot of that work gets done. It's, if a product is being developed effectively and successfully, if that product development team, not only is it cross-functional, but it's using all the data that they can to create the best outcome. So what I mean by that is you're leaning on your complaint data, you're leaning on your non-conformance data for any other previous products you might have had from a manufacturing perspective, and you're using that as different inputs to try to just deliver on improvement for any new product that's coming down. Because again, the ultimate goal in medical devices and pharmaceuticals is patient outcome, and being able to button it up, button up, button up, button up is gonna just give you a much better product at any point in the day.
Yeah, it's super interesting too. So, Marnie, I'm going to level with you. As a recruiter, I've never recruited for the medical device space.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, never.
But you're our medical device correspondent today.
I am, but I think it's such a great opportunity to learn.
Yes.
So kind of with that, I'm thinking about, how safety is so important to the roles that I do recruit for. So like metals, manufacturing,
Yep.
those kinds of things, right?
Yep.
Or even like pulp paper. But the implications in medical device are so much higher. Because when you're thinking about safety, it's usually on the floor in
Yep.
those facilities. It's usually about, you're next to a rolling mill and you don't want anything catastrophic to happen because
Sure.
there's a 68-ton piece of metal
Yep.
right next to you. Now, with medical device, the quality implications and the safety implications are so much more personal.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Can you kind of give us some insight on how to navigate some of those quality perspectives to make sure that you're making a safe product and that it's going to be low risk for your patient?
Well, you touched on one piece of it, and that is make it personal, right? So I have the ultimate personal story for you. When I worked at GE Healthcare's maternal infant care business, we made incubators and infant warmer systems that go into the NICU. This is a long time ago. But I am a very proud and loving mother of 4, and every single one of my children, after I gave birth to them, went on one of those products. And there's this really unique full circle aspect of it when you're sitting there as a patient, having gone through, a health event, and then you see my family member is on it, like it really brings it home to a different perspective. So one of the things that I encourage both my clients and other companies I've been at is to never lose sight of that personal connection. It's so easy especially if you're in a manufacturing environment or you're any sort of environment where you're faced with the pressures of volume or cost or get it out the door faster than we wanted to. It's so easy to get lost in those pressures that you could make decisions that cause harm. But at the end of the day, we all are owning a piece of this experience that is touching your life. It's touching your parents' life. It's touching your children's life. So to me, remembering the personal connection and knowing that when I'm actively designing and working on design teams, the goal is that when I have my family member on it, that they're going to have a great outcome as much as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. A personal story of my own child was in the NICU.
Oh, really?
He was.
Wow. Oh, I'm sorry. Hopefully good now.
No, he's 7 and he's
great.
He's fit to be tied, I tell you what.
Oh, that's great.
So all of the normal things, but you don't think about that. You don't think about the device itself when you're a mom or you're you're a child of an elderly parent.
Yep.
Also living through those things. So it's such an important industry to be a part of.
Absolutely. And I would say with your example you just listed with your son, I anticipate when you were in the NICU facing all those challenges, it was, is he going to be okay? Like, am I going to be able to bring him home? Versus there's teams of people focusing on, okay, what are some of the markers we have to treat for a premature infant? Is there thermal regulation? Are they getting enough humidity? Do I have access so a clinician can go in there and help with whatever treatments? Like, it's so easy to get lost in the technical piece of, oh, well, there's a tolerance on this humidity, relative humidity level within here, but at the end of the day, mom and dad are sitting there and want to take this baby home. Like, it just totally different, it puts a different contextual experience to all of this when you have that frame of reference.
Oh yeah, for the parent, I mean, it's everything. I mean, you're wondering. Yeah, I mean, you're just wondering, right?
Yeah.
You're just, so super thankful and grateful to have had those medical professionals though around that would know those things, because at that point in time, I'm telling y'all, I was not the one. So switching gears just a minute. When you're looking at the medical device industry and you're making some predictions on the next few years, what are some of the top 3 trends that you see in the medical device space that we can expect to see maybe this year?
Yeah, so I think that this is a very broad question, which feels like a very narrow place that we're in talking here about medical devices. But really, the few things that come to mind quickly, I would start with the quality system regulation that's about to change. Anyone who's a quality professional in medical devices has likely seen it already. There's been a lot of talk about it for several years, about 21 CFR Part 820 adopting some of the ISO 1345 standard requirements, which is the medical device quality system standard. So the FDA recently announced that decision's about to go actually live. There'll be a great session with Kim Troutman tomorrow about that. So that's coming, and that can impact the space more in just buttoning up the procedures, buttoning up the processes, and things like that. From a manufacturing and kind of automation standpoint, certainly automating of manufacturing equipment is going to be a big one. I think a lot of medical device companies start smaller, and it's really a hand assembly operation, right? Like, I've been at multiple places where it is, I'm sitting at this table, and here's this part, and here's this screw, and here's this bracket, and someone's just manually putting it together. Well, as your volumes increase and you face some scalability issues, you can't just rely on just manual input anymore. You have to use tools that are intended to help move things along. So I think from a process automation standpoint, that's going to continue to grow, especially as you encompass the regulation and quality system aspect of it. And then the third piece, which this is moving so much faster than I think anyone can anticipate, is AI. And by AI, I mean, how are we going to use that to support manufacturing? How are we going to use it for design? How can we control AI for the use from a quality system and regulatory perspective? There are some questions out there we just don't have the answers to yet, but the pace of which AI is developing is just lightning speed compared to anything else, especially within medical devices where it takes a long time to launch a product.
I mean, AI is incredible, right? I mean, Murphy's Law come to life for sure. Well, I think that we are about at time here today, Marnie. Listen, I really appreciate your time today. I really appreciate you coming by. Had such a great conversation, and looking forward to future networking events.
Thank you. Me too. Thank you for having me. And I've got 2 more speaking sessions tomorrow upstairs. Would love to have everyone come and ask questions. Like, that's what it's all about, is best practice sharing so we can improve patient outcomes.
Absolutely. Well, you folks heard it here from Marnie first. She has speaking events tomorrow. If you guys want to learn more about this exciting industry, you can check her out. In the meantime, this is Am Wyatt. This has been News and Brews, and good night.